there, keeping us abreast of what is a very new sport for everybody here. And I just want to apologise for anyone watching at home that's like a kite surfing expert. I think we're finding our way through this a little bit as a commentary team, but you know, I as someone that's been involved in this sport of sailing and really everything, it's something you can absolutely relate to, and it's a very positive thing for the whole ecosystem of sail-driven sport. It
is for sure. You know, I guess I like science too, and this brings science into sport, and seeing how these guys can foil. It's new, it's fresh, it's exciting. It's you know, and being a sports person, you know, it's great to be able to try these new things.
And it's racing. You know, I think that's the real turnout. Is, you know, this is actually racing, and to a point it's at the absolute forefront of performance in our sport. It's not a, you know, we're not dealing with these guys are getting to the top mark faster than a foiling moth.
Yeah, and I know you've seen those dukes, you know, moth versus kite versus all the different types of foilers, and you're right, these things are incredible weight to power ratio, and their ability to go fast. You know, that equipment would weigh, you know, 1/10 of the people themselves, and in other boats it's maybe the other way around. You know, the people are much lighter than the equipment itself, so that's why these things are so efficient and in many ways cost effective as well.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, you look at the angles, you can see the performance isn't just coming from the weight. You know, those kites there, and they're going along, they're running over at a sort of more than 45 degrees. They're at sort of 50s and 60 degrees. You couldn't sail a moth upwind crank to windward 40 or 50 or 60 degrees because you wouldn't get any power in the sail, because they can use the kites, because there's that disconnect between the sort of lift generating surfaces under the water and over the water. You get to actually ride the whole system a lot more efficiently and reconfigure it for the up and the downwind. You know, the whole thing is absolutely poetry in motion, and you know, that's where this performance is coming from, and it's all sort of laced together by this amazing human element that's controlling the whole thing at the heart. And if that isn't sailing, I don't know what is.
No, well said, and I think you're lining yourself up for a coaching job. I think that's
hang on, steady.
But no, you're right. It's cool. It's very cool. So much so that I think I need to have a go of it.
Yeah, we're in. Where do we sign? We're going to go on a little kind of bromance kite surfing trip after this. Get into this, and we have 2 minutes 15 to go.
Obviously, this being the final race, the third medal race for the kiteboarders here today. Obviously, Ollie Bridge in first position in the yellow jersey has secured the gold medal, but there's plenty to play for in the two minor medals between three of them.
So 1:55. You can see the Optimist fleet there looking over, perhaps enviously, at these guys whizzing around and having what looks like a pretty good time. But this is racing, and it is all going to come down to the results of this next race to see who walks away with the silver and the bronze medal. The gold is already secured for Great Britain.
Obviously, what's the exciting thing about this sport as well is that, or this discipline of the sport, is that it will be in the Youth Olympic Games in Buenos Aires in 2018. There's going to be a male and female event, so it's going to be great to see them going around at that age as well. So under 2 minutes, or we're almost coming up to 1 minute to go.
To the boat. Well, the board's leading off to the right-hand side again. Feels very Foiling America's Cup-esque, sailing away and then sort of turning it back towards the start line in a lead-follow situation. And we have seen the boat, I've got to stop saying boat, the board that's leading back has often been the one that has dominated the start.
Well, it's actually, the funny thing is, there in a traditional boat you couldn't, with a minute to go, just capsize to slow yourself down, but that's what these guys are doing, popping themselves out of the water, laying back into the water just to kill some time, and then obviously plonking the fin and the board back into the water to take off again to start to approach that line.
Now this time everyone back, pointing towards the committee boat a tiny bit earlier. You can see 23 seconds opening up on the clock.
Seems like they're setting up a lot further back this time, so I reckon they might be coming at the line a little faster because, well, they're going to be late the way it looks to my eyes.
So Bridge again down towards the left-hand end of the line. Final 4 seconds to go. The big cloud of kites starting to drop down to try and build the speed, and off they go. Very congested middle of the line this time. You can see Bridge there in the yellow as the first bib number 11 tacks off to the right-hand side, out in front. I think that's one of the Florians.
You can see the group of, what, 6 or 7 riders there, in the way how hard they have to work their legs to keep balancing those foils under the water. And obviously keeping constant pressure on them as well, as you described before so elegantly, that they've got to keep that flow going to keep the speed and of course their foiling ability.
To down, and there a little bit of a kiss of the board there, and then back up to speed and going. Riding that weight through the turn, weight back down. Both Bridge brothers through the tack. You can see there's, well, they're all close to the ley line for that top mark. The gain line showing that the people on the left-hand side, that's Martin from Croatia, under control there, just controlling Bridge there, tucked in tight. You can see him controlling the power there with that right-hand side, small tweaks to that line all the time, just to keep the maximum exact amount of lift that he wants on that foil, locked down to the surface of the water. And Bridge starting to move now. You can just see that superior
technique,
ride height and technique and control, just able to get an extra, well, it's more than 1%. It looks like a couple of percent.
It was very obvious just how stable, you know, and the best indicator for me was the board itself. It was very stable through the air.
Riders coming back together. Bridge in from the right-hand side. I think that might be his brother, just sliding underneath, and Bridge around in first place. I think that was Guy Bridge. He was just having a bit of a brotherly coming together with.
Oh, he's done a great job again to, obviously not as good start as he did in the second race, but good enough for him just to work his way through the fleet and obviously still be leading here at the first top mark.
So Guy Bridge has found his way. Says he's in second. It looks to me like that is actually one of the other riders, but
I think the trackers are
there we go. Florian Gruber, I think, in second place. That makes more sense. Guy Bridge.
Still in the mix though.
It is Guy Bridge. 25 knots coming down towards, just see the ley lines for the bottom gate just starting to pop up.
Well, we just got news from the race committee that it was a clear start. They're already halfway through the race, and that's how long it takes for the message to get through to us being the commentators.
So they're back on through that final jibe. Can he? Looks like they round both marks to the bottom as opposed to going through it.
I think that might be a safety thing, because obviously these guys are moving at such a speed that having the 2 marks will separate the people from coming downwind to upwind, which obviously makes sense.
Oh, that is good. Yeah, that explains why we've been seeing them going the wrong side of the mark. It's because they are.
Thankfully they know what they're doing.
So Ollie Bridge in first, Florian Gruber in second, Guy Bridge in third.
Well, obviously Florian Gruber, was in 4th position, only 1 point behind Guy Bridge coming into this race. So they got a neck-and-neck fight there. But obviously the way the cookie's going to crumble at the moment, I'd say Florian will equal points on Guy if it finished right now, but enough for him to get onto the podium.
And if they're equal points, is it on the result of the last race?
I'm guessing so. You know, the medal races count. That's what.
So the last medal race is better than the other medal races?
Correct. It's worth more than the previous.
Well, it's the tie break, and at the moment that would see Florian Gruber find his way on to the podium.
And it'd be very disappointing for Guy, because he went into today in silver medal position, and then to come away with a 4th, oh, that'd hurt.
Well, let's see. Coming up to the top mark, it looks to me like Ollie Bridge maybe has made a bit of a gain over Florian. We'll see. We're still with our leader. Ollie Bridge tracking across to that top mark, dominating this final race into the final top mark. Our leader coming into today, and our leader around the last top marks. Ollie Bridge from the United Kingdom, Team Great Britain, coming down onto the final run. Next around, I think that is Guy Bridge, who's managed to sneak back into it. We'll see. It's absolutely neck and neck between those two.
There's nothing in it between them, and wow, it's going to be a great battle down the last run between them.
And you can see Ollie just with a little bit of an eye back, just glancing across, just keeping an eye on little brother to see how he's getting on.
Now the tracker's got Guy now just back in front of Florian, so they really are having a ding-dong of a race.
So Florian and Guy Bridge coming down, Ollie Bridge out in front. Our SAP Insights keeping us honest on the positions of these riders as Bridge through the final turn down towards the bottom gate, and then just a short dash to the finish. And he comes, and it's going to be neck and neck. Meters separating Guy and Florian.
So that's the gates. They went around on the upwind. They've got to go down to the next set of gates before they'll then reach to the finish.
And this is a much tighter packed race. Ollie Bridge out in front. And he is going to come through. He is going to take this win, provided he can get through this final turn, which he does, riding perfectly around that bottom mark. Now can he keep his cool into the finish? Bridge through. And he is going to take this for Great Britain. Team Gbree claim the foiling kite regatta here at the Sailing World Cup finals here in Melbourne. And all that remains, will Guy Bridge be on the podium? A little jump in the air from
little celebration.
Ollie. That's the celebration. But will his brother be in second? We're looking, they have the same board colour, the same bib colour, the same kite colour. But that is bib number 11. And that
Florian Gruber, I think he went across in third position, so Guy Bridge was second in that race. So that would keep Guy Bridge on the podium.
Wow, into third with Florian Trittle in second place. We will get confirmation of these final results.
Now
but that was some very tight racing in what turned out to be fantastic conditions.
And it looked like Florian Trittle from Spain did get him across in fourth position, which would secure the silver medal for him. Assuming that is the case, one more place further back, and it'll mean Guy Bridge back into silver position.
Wow,
so we've got to wait for these final results to see how the podium will look.
Well, really close racing here, and perhaps an exhibition of a format that is really working. We are still waiting for those final finishers to come across the line when the race committee hit that button and send and beam back to the mainland those provisional results. And we will know the final standings. Both that silver and bronze medal up for grabs, and whichever way it's fallen, only a point separating both the positions for silver and that position for bronze.
Not a lot in it, that's for sure. And the thing is, you know, Florian Gruber from Germany was only another 2 points further back in fourth place, so it was quite a battle there from 2 to 4. He's our champion of the week, dominated the whole time, flying high on the way in.
Nice. Well, we can't wait to get a word from our foiling kiteboard champion. We can see our positioned pit lane reporter Matt Sheehan is making his way over to Guy now. We'll be going down on to the dock to join Matt. I don't know if you can hear me. You make sure you grab that sucker and have a word. He's the champion and perhaps the coolest kid in town.